VTM. But again, I think they're all very similar. In fact, they look pretty similar. So this is the new one. It's got a compass up here. Today's video is all about useful tips for battery boosters. Today I got my booster battery, my new booster battery, in the mail today. I'll do an unboxing on this video, and I'll try to explain why I have one, how it's worked for me, and a couple of things you can do to prolong the life of it. And I'm not sure, we're going to learn as we go in this process, because the new one is a little different than the old one. I've carefully read the instructions, tried to pick up whatever useful information I could from it, and try to upgrade my knowledge and skills of using these booster batteries. But the one thing good about the booster battery, the first time I got stuck on a day, it was probably below freezing, and Luciano came out with the booster battery and my GS and jump started the GS like that. I ran home and bought one. That one lasted over 3 years, but I didn't maintain it properly, and I'm going to go into that somewhere on this video. I got a brand new one. It's a little bit different brand, but it looks very similar. I'm hoping the jumper cables that I made for the old one are going to fit the new one. Again, we're going to find out, because what I want to do is, from this point in the year on, and it is getting cold, I want to have it in my bag of the tire repair kit and the booster battery everywhere I go. And of course, in my case, it's a little more important than to have this for a couple of reasons. Number one, many of the bikes that I ride in my collection, they're older bikes. And some of the bikes still have the old-fashioned type of battery where you add water to it. I was trying to keep some of these bikes authentic and to the time period correct. I've kind of given up on that now, and as the batteries have gotten older in these bikes, I've replaced them all with lithium-ion batteries. But even those, in the middle of the winter, when you're far from home and riding alone, having that booster battery can be worth its weight in gold, believe me. And I know firsthand, I know. And I've helped other people, believe it or not. Believe it or not, I know this is my 3 or 4 houses down from here. I have a friend who had a police car that we jump started the police car. It got stuck in front of his house. Case closed. These things really work well. If you don't have one, you can't believe how good they work. And they even start in the coldest of cold days. They will start a car. But the real reason here is I like to ride all year long. And these older bikes, and I have to be honest, I can't push start the GS anymore. I'm past that point in my life. And even if I was, it's really a difficult thing. Now, I've done a lot of things, and I'm going to mention this one thing on the GS. I've run lead wires out from the battery to under a side cover that I can use to jump start the bike. Since I had the thing with Luciano, I had to take the half of the guts of the bike off and everything to get at the battery. Well, now I know it's better to have that jumper wire somewhere where you can access it. So that's really a good tip too. And use heavy wire. Don't use the wire that you use like that dental floss wire. But anyway, and I have used it since then. Now, I don't know why. I have gotten a little paranoid about bikes breaking down, especially when it's something simple like the battery that you can. I had a flat tire on the MT-09 when it was a month old. You can't really protect yourself from flat tires, but a battery, it's like you can't carry a spare tire on a motorcycle. Realistically, you can't. I mean, so I'm sure some people do if you have a sidecar. But the bottom line is, these things, they fit in your pocket. They're about 50 to 70 bucks. The one I got is the bottom of the line one. It fits in your pocket. If you don't have a bag or a saddlebag or some way of carrying it, just stuff it right in your jacket pocket. And if you're riding in really cold weather, it's really worth its weight in gold. Now, before I made this video, I talked to several people, have a lot more knowledge about this than I do. One of them, I got an email from Vince that his batteries were lasting in the about 3 years. And Luciano's lasted about 3 years. And guess what? Mine lasted about 3 years. So maybe these are the kind of items that, when properly maintained, will last a lot longer. I have a feeling most of us, and I'm guilty of it too, haven't really maintained them properly. I haven't kept up with the charging routine like I should. basically what you get from Amazon. And this brand, and again, there are plenty to choose from that really even higher end ones. This is the lowest low end one. It was about 50 bucks, VTM. But again, I think they're all very similar. In fact, they look pretty similar. So this is the new one. It's got a compass up here. So I'm sure that's of some value to some people. It also has the port for the jumper cables. And the jumper cables, needless to say, this gets a little tricky with a motorcycle. Sometimes the battery is where you don't want it to be. And there's instructions on what you have to do here and what you do. When you hit the boost button, you don't want to touch these, obviously don't want to touch the cables together. Pretty self-explanatory. Now what I did, I made for the previous jumper battery, I made smaller cables so I could fit them in my pocket. Well, I guess you could fit these in your pocket. But these got clumsy on some of the bikes where I was thinking, how do you get that in there? But again, that's a whole nother issue. Making this piece to fit your motorcycle, now I don't know like on a BMW or a Ducati where the battery is, but figuring that out ahead of time, of course, is important. But what you do have to do once you plug that in, there's a little button you have to push. Now it's great if you have fingernails like Elvira. I don't have fingernails, so I used to always take a little 440 Allen bolt and tape it to the cable so I could push that button. Once I hook the cables up, you've got to push this button and with the other hand start the motorcycle. So if you're doing this alone, it can be a little tricky, I'm not going to lie. When you have somebody with you, super easy. They also give you they don't give you a charger, by the way. You can use several ways of charging it. You don't get a charger. Maybe that's why this one is the cheapest one. And you get other things like a cigarette lighter that I probably will never use. And a thing to charge my smartphone. Really not going to use that. And one that's got the cable on one end and for UBS on the other hand. Most people have a box full of that stuff. These are the two things you really need. This is the crux of it. Now, I don't know how heavy this is, but it's not so heavy that when you put it in your pocket, you know, you tip over. So another nice thing if you ride at night, I don't ride at night, so it makes it easy. There's a button here, and you have a, let's see if we can make this work the way it should, a flashlight, that's handy. You get stuck on the side of the road, maybe a flat tire, you want to warn people, even in a car this would be handy. And then there's the other feature, it's like a warning light. Now what happened on my original boost battery, the original one? 3 years old. I did not keep the charge up like I should. The directions to this battery say charge it every 2 months. Keep it fully charged. It has a little scale here that lights up with an LED to show you how much you have left. But a good idea would be in the winter charge it once a month. Because if you're going to leave this out in a cold garage, now I typically would put this inside the tank bag and keep it in a warm area. There's a certain, and that's another good tip, certain things, if you can bring them in the house in the winter, it makes it a lot nicer. First of all, I never leave my camera out in the garage in cold weather. It fogs up when you bring it in the house. Or when you go to take your first picture and then it can be a problem. So what I'm suggesting is, if I'm going to keep this in my tank bag, the whole idea of it is I'll wrap this in a microfiber so it doesn't take a beating. I also need to protect it. I don't want to beat it all up, so I don't want to put it in a bag with a bunch of tools and screwdrivers and just go riding down a road and beat it up. Maybe I'll make a microfiber with a, I don't know, piece of zip tie or something over it. But this is the next thing I have to work on. This is not going to be something for this video. But I'm going to take this and I'll show the one I have for the old one. In fact, maybe I can use it. I don't even know. But this would be the only thing for a motorcycle I can see that you might want to make a change on. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show in this. It looks like, see, I have a gut feeling the companies, somewhere in China, of course. Somewhere in the world, there's a company that makes these booster batteries and they just put their own name on it. Now you can see the difference. I'll take a close-up of this. This is the old one, and this is the one I made, and you can see what I have. I'll show this on a close-up. I have a little 440 Allen bolt or something, because to get into that boost to hit the boost button, if you don't have fingernails, good luck. Oh, yeah, a little twig. Now, Luciano and I, when the first time we used this, we didn't have this bolt, and we had to look around for a twig to get that in. This is handy. What you can do is just tape it up here. And these are the little tips that make, well, I try to put them on all my videos, but I think everybody that makes these how-to videos or try to make them useful. I also made, and this I tried, I have never used it yet. This was really for an emergency, that I could plug this into the RD and put a battery out here. Where an RD, all you need is I don't know that this would work with a heavy-duty battery. But I know this does, because I've used it. I've actually even used it on a car. And this is just one of the things. I'll make a picture of this. I made sure I got heavy-duty alligator clips, and that joint there is soldered and covered with the shrink tubing. So what this is worth looking at, because motorcyclists, mostly motorcyclists are looking at my channel anyway, you can replace this. It's this is the same exact thing. In fact, I have an extra set of these somewhere around. But this is what I chose to do, and this, by the way, worked perfectly every time I've used it, and I have used it about 10 times already. This worked perfectly. Now, in the current time I have right now, I have two tank bags. I have the cap screw-on one, which I love, the Jivvy, and I also have the old magnetic one. I need the magnetic one for driving the two historic bikes I have, the GS, the RD, actually the 750. I don't have a tank cap mount figured out yet. So I do need two tank bags right now to do what I want to do. And this one, of course, this would be the phase one. You could stick it in there. I guess that would be fine. I don't like to leave loose stuff like this laying around. And in the tank bag, I always try to protect it. Of course, I have tools in there, and I have other things, camera batteries and things that I don't want to short out. So it's a good idea. Anything you do have, and especially if you have a lot of stuff and you're packing it in, I'm guessing that would work. Now, if I'm going out on one of the historic bikes that I don't have, see, I don't have a radar detector for this yet, too. But with winter coming, I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to that. We got a lot of shop projects. But anyway, this really fits in conveniently. But if I was going to just lay it, this is what I wanted to show. If I was just going to lay it somewhere, I always want to protect it a little bit. And maybe even throw a couple of rubber bands or a zip tie around it. That always is, and that's a really good tip. And then whatever space you're not using, stuff it with more rags. That's a good tip. Believe it or not, that is a good tip. See what could happen with this, if this were pressed in here and you had something laying on top of it and you didn't realize that you had put something against that switch, this is what could happen. And for the whole time you're riding, this thing is either going to be doing this, or every time you hit a bump it's going to change. And ultimately when you go to use it, it's going to be dead. So I have even thought of maybe making a little box to go around this so that nothing could press it. Maybe with Gorilla Tape or something. I'll figure out how I want to do that when I actually go to put this in the bag where it's going to reside forever. But that is something you have to keep in mind. And you certainly don't want to have anything that you can short circuit any of these outlet ports. You can't do it out this port, but I don't know that you can't, like a screwdriver. If you had this in a bag with a screwdriver, it couldn't work its way in there. Because, you know, it's always Murphy's Law. It'll only be the one thing in a million that'll happen, and I don't know, if you short one of these out, I bet they get more than hot. So I understand most people don't have a tank bag, and I am going to have to make something for this, because I see this on this particular one. This switch sticks out. So no matter what you press on that, it's going to turn that light on. But this would be the case. Never put it that way. If you don't have a protection on that switch, I would think the best way is have it on the outside of the jacket. And this is what happens. And you have the other part of it. This part can just go in the other pocket. So either way, if you're riding and it's super cold, or you're out riding alone, far from home, or any other combination, well, now the best thing of all is to have a friend who has one of these and ride with him and let him carry it, him buy it, him charge it, and then when your bike doesn't start, hey, could you give me a jump start? Now, I'm the kind of guy, I don't want to do that. See, I just don't want to do that. So Just me. But anyway, these are wonderful, wonderful little things. They have made my enjoyment of winter riding so much better because I don't think about what happens if my battery goes dead, especially on these old historic bikes. New bikes, not so much, but old bikes, these are a lifesaver and well worth the money in my. So today what I did, I tried to share some useful information, some good tips, something that has worked for me and worked for me personally. I've been on both ends of this. I've been a rescuee and a rescuer. And I know many of my friends, Luciano, Jose, they all have Vince, they all have these. But it's really nice if you're not the guy who doesn't have one on that cold day. And it's really even nicer if you could do a little mitzvah and help somebody else. And I've even thought I should actually have one of these in my car. And maybe I should be carrying this around too. Then if you have to jump start your car, you don't even have to look for somebody. You just go open the hood. It's a no-brainer. Anyway, they are good. They're $50 to $70 on Amazon. If you charge them every 2 months, they might last more than 3 years, but I don't know that for a fact. And as a side benefit, if you do enjoy playing with things like these strobe lights and all of this stuff, I'm not sure that would be a big thing for me, but it's free. It comes with the package. Anyway, I want to thank the healthcare workers. You guys make this all possible, that we can be doing our thing, whatever that thing is. Riding, working on bikes, restoring bikes, going to meetups. We try to do it all. I try to share it all on my channel. I do enjoy editing the videos, making them. They're usually 3-4 days behind real time. But I do enjoy the whole adventure of sharing things. It's such a wonderful world we live in with YouTube and being able with all the social media to share things. I would never want to go back to the day where you had to go to the Photoshop and take a picture and then get a copy of a picture and hand it to a friend. Boy, we have come a long way. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope this will save you some bacon. And thanks for watching. Now, we try to post up a new video every day. Every day we try to work on something or go for a scenic ride. Try to enjoy the sport and activity of motorcycling. You may enjoy sharing our whole channel, I'm not sure. But this boosted battery is well worth the money, well worth the effort. And I'm convinced it's one of the things everybody should have if you ride alone and if you ride far from home. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoy editing them and making them. I hope you enjoy watching them. Share them with your friends. And whatever you do, ride safe. And thanks for watching.